Welcome everyone to the debate show. Keep doing the debate. You know what? I've literally got. We may have a couple next week as well. So I never thought I'd be doing 2 debates a week, but boy, it's debate season. I told you. I called it. Then I manifested it. And now here we are. Very excited for this one. I think. Yeah. I mean, the last couple. I mean, I did 3 so far, and yeah, again, like plenty more to come. And each one I think has been pretty educational and freedom of information. Yeah. Again, whether you like the guest, you agree with them or not, or you agree with me or like me or not, all that stuff. The point of these things is to bring the information to the table, let you decide as the people what you believe and what direction you want to go into. So I'm very, I'm pumped for this one. This should be a fun one. It's a topic I've wanted to talk about for a while. I try to talk about, but it's always hard to because it's like, oh, you're alienating half of everyone on Pulsechain when you take a position one way or another. And it's kind of you kind of need people who have been deep into it and have a body of knowledge and really want to engage in fair exchange and stuff around it too. So anyways, without further ado, welcome back to maybe the first time on the show, but back to from the conference. Blockhead, how's it going, man?
Hey, what's going on, Max? How you doing?
Doing good. I'm this is I guess you haven't been officially on the show other than the conference, but usually I'm like, you kind of messed up my intro there. I'm like, which one do I say? But yeah, good to see you again, man. Glad you're come back over here.
Yeah, it's a good Friday.
Yeah. So maybe people are unfamiliar. If you've seen at the Pulse conference, Blockhead did a lightning talk there. We spoke for a little bit during that on memes and different pieces on that too. But for people who don't know you, maybe just a quick intro, and then we get into a couple other pieces before we get into the debate portion.
Yeah, I mean, I'm Blockhead. Love Pulsechain. I'm here for it, man. I'm here for it all. The upside, the community, helping educate people. I stubbed my toe along the way, and that's part of the reason why I'm here. Some people sometimes we just need somebody to speak up. So I'm here to kill the bears in a way.
I was also listening to Cairo, and he's what did he say? Kill the shut the FUD up. I really like that. I don't know if you call it his recap of the debate the other day, but man, that's a really good. I want that T-shirt. Shut the FUD up, like pulsechain.com. Like that'd be pretty fun.
That'd be a good one.
Well, when did you get into crypto? When did you get into memes and all that stuff?
Man, I bought Bitcoin when I was a kid for illicit reasons. And then about 4 or 5 years ago, the first coin I bought was SHIB when it hit crypto.com. And from there, I just dove in, fell in the rabbit hole, and I've been in crypto ever since.
Nice. All right. Well, yeah. Do you want to give people? I know you know much more about memes on Pulsechain than I do, but like, what's the history? What's the rundown? Like, how did these things start? We're a chain that's 2 years old now. Like, where they come from, and what have you seen that's been good and bad, and all in between?
Well, today's debate is whether memes are a net positive or a net negative. And ever since the very beginning, memes have been a net positive, in my opinion, to the chain. Even from P Pepe and P Shiv from the very beginning, from the P copy narrative, we've seen Pulsechain evolve from P copies to Atropa to the solid index to 9mm, 9-inch, and beyond, to the point where RH gave us pump tires. So there's a lot of value that memes have provided for Pulsechain that I want to highlight. That way people understand the risks and reward that Pulsechain has to offer, and all the little Easter eggs that we can find here.
Yeah, I mean, man, like all the projects you name, some of them I don't even think of as memes, but that's the really interesting part. It's like you named like the solid index and all those too. It's, at least when I think about it, I think of like dog picture, or I think of like, hey, here's, the 5,000 coins. What is it? I was watching some of the meme stuff at the Token 2049 where they had Ansem, they had Murad, and all of them. They were talking about, oh yeah, like what 5,000 memes per day or something come out on, across chains and all that stuff. I don't really usually think of them as these, like, I don't know. I feel like there's 2 categories. One is just, hey, here's an ideal, here's a meme, here's a thing. We're going to go make a bunch of art and do all the stuff with that, promote it, and have people influence it and all these different things. And the other is just, hey, we're going to like have this we're going to do like liquidity games, right? And we're going to like have this supply and do all these things to make it less incentivized selling and have these like groups and stuff around all that stuff. Maybe just real quick for people who are first like getting into this too and haven't thought really deeply about it. is there a difference between, like, what are the different verticals in memes, I guess?
Well, aside from the 5-minute rug pull memes, there's a lot of memes that show us that represent store value, that represent community sentiment, that represent, liquidity incentives. I mean, everything's a meme on Pulsechain. Everything is a JPEG, and then the utility and the community follows behind because essentially, if you look at memes and other chains, people have to create content, people have to create merch, people have to keep up with the maintenance and such like that. So I think everything on Pulsechain is a meme. That's what makes it so fun. There's a little bit of everything for everybody. People come for the memes, and they stay for the utility, and they stay for the refreshments. So that's kind of the way I put it.
Gotcha. Cool. Yeah, and chat and everyone, be civil, be nice. I know the last few debates, you've been very colorful and friendly, and the opposite of that from time to time too. But if you have strong opinions, this or there, just be nice in the chat. But appreciate you all. Mods, do your job from time to time as well. Appreciate that.
Is my audio all right?
It was a little loud before, but it seems you want to do mic check real quick.
Yeah, let me see if I can.
Maybe just a little.
All right. How's that sound? A little better? Yeah,
there you go. If you that sounds pretty balanced. Awesome. All right, real quick before we get into the different points and stuff too, I always like to do things we agree on. So, and I'll go through each one. You can nod or say yes if you feel like there's that, or if there's some nuance there, feel free to bring it up as well. But the first one, it's got three. First one, I think I can agree that meme coins can be done well, and not all of them are scams. Do you agree with that?
Very much so.
Yeah. The second one, meme coins can promote brands and ideals and art and artists, and really just proliferate these different things that we want to talk about and discuss. And they can be these longer term visions of getting these ideals across, rather than, like you mentioned, like the 5-minute rug pull type thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And third thing, lastly, and probably most important too, I think for me, they should exist. Meme coins should exist. Like, I don't want them to go away. I don't think they should go away. I don't think it's really good that they would go away. I think every kind of thing on Pulsechain should exist, and crypto should exist. I do think they're a little too popular at the detriment of like the actual tech and funding and utility and pieces like that right now. But I think they should exist, and should, like, I definitely wouldn't snap my fingers and just make them go away.
I think the current layout of memes have showed us how to do it properly, and I think from here on out there is a layout on how things should be done right. So yes, memes should exist, and they should be executed properly.
Gotcha. Awesome. All right, chat. Buckle in. We got a lot of different pieces to go through. I know Blockhead's been doing his homework and stuff too, and we've both been. It's nice to have someone prepare for it and go through that stuff too, because we got so many different points. But I think the first thing I want to start with is this idea that I almost want to like provide the counter of like meme coins bring new users to Pulsechain. I feel like that is so used in a way of like, if we didn't have we didn't have these like, could be meme coins, could be anything else, anything but the cores, anything but the utility tokens, anything but, I guess, the meme coins included, then Pulsechain would be a ghost chain, and we need these people to come in and all that stuff. However, and I'm not saying there isn't a fraction of new users that do come to Pulsechain because they found some meme interesting and they saw the chart on Dex Screener go way high or whatever. But the people we want to attract, they may be the 5-minute rug pull people. They may be the non-investors, the gamblers, like, which is kind of inherent in meme coin itself. And maybe we could dive into like the PCF for that too. But I just don't think they bring net new users to Pulsechain. I think a lot of people come, get disappointed to leave, or they come extract money and leave too. So what do you think?
Well, I beg to differ at that point, because I was onboarded through the biggest meme on Pulsechain right now. In December of 23, I came to Pulsechain because I was enthused by the PDI narrative. And at the time, that was a great time in Pulsechain. Everybody was excited, and there was a big run up on it. And I was infatuated by the idea of that stablecoin idea. You know what I mean? So the fact that people say that memes are a distraction, I don't think that's the case, because that narrative in itself brought a lot of people from different chains, and now we're seeing different cycles. I mean, everything's cyclical, and now Pump.Tires gave us different narratives to kind of chase and look after, and yeah, I don't think that's a net negative, because memes are used as an onboarding tool. I mean, look at Solana when Solana went from $9 to 263. That was majority on the back of meme coins. So even though we don't look at the value the same way, I think it's essential that we integrate all of that.
I'm not sure. PDI is an interesting example, because in that one, my first instinct is you were probably thinking it had utility, right? You thought, the pegging. You thought, hey, it's going to go to $1. It's not like and again, correct me if I'm wrong. It's not like you were like, oh, PDI, this is a dollar coin that will probably never make it there, but it's got a lot of art and community behind it. I'm going to join. You were like, I want the utility of it, that narrative, that gold narrative that's, weaker, it seems like now at this point, that it's going to go to $1, right? There was some utility you were chasing.
It was the mysticism behind it. It was what everything Pulsechain had to offer. Through the PDI narrative, I was able to learn everything about Pulsechain. Once I, buckled down, I did my research, and from there I fell in love with the rest of the chain. So it was an onboarding tool, and like I said, people come for the memes and they stay for the utility. In that case, that's how it came about.
Well, yeah, I feel like every conversation turns into PDI, but this one that's actually pretty relevant. But now with PDI, so when you came in, you said December 2023. I don't know what the chart looks like at that point, but do you think people came in, even if they're still coming? I mean, now it's like, to me, it's like a super meme coin. It is like, there's definitely like a broken, the glorious narrative has been broken, in my opinion. I've talked about that before, but it's a meme coin, sure. Like, but do you think now that, that coin or anything else on Pulsechain, more people you're going to attract people in? But what are they going to stay for once they get to Pulsechain? Even if they come in, what are they going to stay for after they see that? And it's whole PDI and then anything else really. Like, why would they stay here?
Well, I wasn't a day one Hexagon, so I wasn't as informed on RH morals in the beginning. But this allowed me to kind of do my research and dive into all of that, and that's what the research presented. It presented the in-depth value and the upside that Pulsechain had to offer, and it wasn't just the P maker narrative. It wasn't just PDI. It was everything else. It was a community and a bunch of people. It was that grassroots feeling that allowed us to do research together, and all the content creators and along the way, all the content, all the posts, and everything along the way allowed for more optimism.
Okay. Yeah, I'm still not. I mean, there's so many people that come to Pulsechain that even with PDI, again, I still think it's like this utility. A lot of people probably came in because like, oh, that's exciting on Pulsechain, going to stay over for whatever reason. I think a lot of them came for the utility, and then they stayed for that, and they got entrenched in all the stories. And now it's just kind of like almost like sunk cost fallacy. Like, I just can't leave because I want this thing to come true. I got to make it come true, type of deal. Is that a net positive though? I don't know. I feel like if you come here and you don't get into you come here for one thing and that thing doesn't go the way you planned. And again, this is not a commentary on PDI in general. I'm just saying, yeah, the general idea. Everyone loves PDI. Keep loving PDI. I'm just saying in general, a lot of things have happened with it. Is that good for the people coming in?
Well, we're talking about meme coins, and RH even told us that we had the power to profit. So in another way that he said that he wanted to create 1 million millionaires, I think also he wanted to create 1 million leaders. And that includes educating the masses and educating ourselves in terms of risk and reward and learning how to maneuver properly, because it's not a coincidence that everything now is just now lining up for the upside of what Pulsechain may have to offer. And if it doesn't happen, then it doesn't happen. But at least we've learned a lot in the past year and a half in order to maneuver through the casino properly. And yeah, we're talking about memes. It's not just PDI, but all these little speed bumps and errors along the way. I think it was up to us to learn these things so that we can teach the newcomers and this next wave of onboards that are to come, which would create a net positive.
I can't help but think like your experience has been more unique than others in that kind of, it's almost, I don't know what the mental model is, not recency bias, but Another one that is talking about more of like, again, even myself, like, hey, I think it's easy to talk good things about Pulsechain because I'm here to win and I want this place to succeed, and I believe in RH and all this stuff. But for you, when you come in, I mean, and you got onboarded through Memecoin and Pulsechain, how big a percentage do you think of people who come here that get onboarded through Memecoins stay and contribute and be productive, like yourself and all that stuff, versus, oh crap, I'm going to go on X and talk trash now, or I got to get out of here, or man, I just lost all my money because this thing rugged. Do you think it's a higher or lower percentage? Like, how do you think about that?
Well, I come from playing on Ethereum and playing on Binance, so there was also FUD in a lot of the projects that I was in before they blew up and did hundreds of X's over there. So, yeah, I mean, it's unique. I lost my train of thought again. Bear with me.
No worries. No worries. Oh, do you think that the most people have your like similar experience of you come into Pulsechain through Memecoin and you're productive and you're like, see high hopes the ecosystem, I imagine all that stuff too, or is that like the 10% and the 90% are like, I just came here for the meme and now I lost my money and now I got to get out of here and disgruntled versus the opposite of like what you're presenting right now?
Well, I mean,
are you an exception? I guess, yeah.
Not necessarily. I'm not the only one. I'm not the only person that came from Ethereum and Binance to chase upside. And there was a lot of people there's a lot of people that came from other chains that are building right now. And you guys, the OGs, the maxis, y'all deserve a little bit of respect for giving us the layout here. And but then again, that maxi mindset is a mindset that shows, hey, if you don't buy my one thing, everything could have been perfect. So I mean, that maxi mindset needs to be needs to be opened up a little bit, because now this meme coin journey has taught us how to have a plan, whether it be through community, through marketing, through all of that. We have to have a plan going in and out of a token, and that's something that not many people really understand. So when people are disgruntled, that's the majority of people that don't have plans, that go in with greed and with a false hope, and I think that needs to be reestablished.
Well, another thing I don't quite get either is like thinking that, okay, we start with meme coin. Like maybe you got a riff on it too about we start with meme coins, like everything's a meme coin, and then eventually they get utility or they get adoption or something. But it kind of starts with nothing. In a way, I can kind of even think of Bitcoin. What was it? A meme coin in the beginning? Like, what is Hex? A meme coin with, I mean, I guess there's always yield part, but now that's in question because yield go down a lot. It just seems like a counter way of doing things to not have an ideal in mind other than to launch something and then add utility later. It seems like things should be planned beforehand for it to solve a problem or have utility in some way or benefit users or increase adoption, like all these things, all the data beforehand, instead of launching and think, okay, is this successful? Then add utility. It just seems like a backwards way of doing it.
Well, I mean, whether you want to accept it or not, memes are actually a store of value in one way or another. Memes tokenize sentiment. Memes tokenize a good moment, and we've seen that happen time and time again. Yes, they can lose value, but when you see the community rally behind it, it does create some pretty charts.
So, okay, it's interesting, monetizing sentiment, but okay, let's say if they do monetize sentiment, but usually you'd agree that most meme coins fail, right? Like 90. Well, I don't know what percentage would you say meme coins fail overall in crypto?
More than 50%.
Yeah, pretty big.
But there's a plethora of memes getting launched every single day, so those numbers itself are diluted.
I think the idea of monetizing sentiment itself is, and I'm sure you'd agree, extremely risky because the sentiment could go up, it could go down. Is that the basis of the value for meme coin? Like the value prop is we need to be able to monetize sentiment. If not, it's not going to work. Is that like the basis of a value for them?
Well, the sentiment comes from the community, so it's whether you have a strong enough community backing it or not. And there's a lot of different coins that are built on different cores that add value to the cores themselves. So, yeah, I mean, memes bring value to the chain, whether you like it or not. People have to come to our chain to buy the Pulse X, to buy the Ink, to buy the Hex, to buy the Pulse. I mean, we can see that 1.5% of Pulsechain has already been burned, and a lot of that was memes and tokens on V1. It's not just the recent bias on memes that caused that.
Why would they have to buy the cores though? Other than Pulse, that could be a trading pair. And yeah, if they graduate on pump tires, then it could help Pulsex and burn and stuff like that. But when they come in, they don't need anything but Pulse or something paired to the token to trade, right? Like they could never touch the core coins and come into Pulsechain.
Doesn't buying Pulse affect Pulsex? Doesn't buying Pulse or doesn't that trickle effect add volume to the Pulsex ink pair and then therefore add to the volume of the whole core set?
Indirectly, but it's kind of, I don't know. I think I put that in the bucket of, again, onboarding. This meme is good for onboarding. So if we do it, it'll onboard people. It's like, well, maybe it will. Like, I think the argument for like volume and liquidity and adding liquidity, like we can talk about all the different metrics for the pools and how that might help it. But it could be, does it help if it's 0.001%? Like, it could be marginal, I would say on that. So unless it becomes super popular and a ton of volume, but again, that's the 1%. That's the fraction of 1%.
But now we're 2 years into Pulsechain. We can't deny the stats.
Which stats?
The Pulse being burned, the Pulsex that's been burnt.
But how have meme coins contributed towards that though?
Since the beginning of Pulsechain, a lot of memes were on V1, especially the P copies. And now you see all the successful memes that are on chain right now have big liquidity pools with all the cores. It's not just Pulse. Even though Pulse is the most important, indirectly, it does add value to the other cores as well. And people kind of select different cores to dive into. And indirectly, it does add value to the chain.
Do you think a lot of people coming into, so I think we're kind of coming up on the crux of how much you like or promote meme coins, I think has a correlation with how well you want the core coin, or I guess how you prioritize how well you want the core coins to do. I would say that most people who are super into meme coins, and you can give me your perspective too, of course, I would say most people really into meme coins and are creating them and promoting them and stuff like that, they prioritize, with natural incentives, probably because they may have a supply, they may have a token, they may have reputation, whatever it is. Once you create a coin, it's real easy to stop talking about Hex. Like if you liked Hex before, again, that's a presupposition, I guess, too. But it's very easy to prioritize, either personal gain, if you got supply, or your own sub community or whatever it is, more than wanting Hex to do well or Pulse X to do well or Ink or Pulse or all the core coins, most, like whatever you want to say.
Well, let's look at it. Let's look at it in a different light. Let's say that Hex was a big grocery store, and now they built a big casino next to the grocery store. Well, when people get tired of the casino, they have to go to the grocery store to get food and such. So it's like an expressway. The same illustrations of Pulsechain being a fork of a system state fork of Ethereum. Do you just want hexagons on the highway, or do you want people with all different cars, different families, all different communities on the same highway to add value to the highway itself?
Ooh, I would do a different analogy. I would say Pulsechain's a city. We got the brothels, we got the casino, we got the what do you got? Financial advisor office. We got the bank. We got all this stuff, and everyone's like, "Oh, I'm a school teacher. I'm doing a great job. Everything's good. Hey, why don't you come to the casino? Hey, go in the casino." And then you start the casino, you got the brothel, it's like a slippery slope of like, now I just lost all my money. That's
well, in order for us to be successful in the bull run. Sorry, can you hear me?
Oh yeah, I got you. You cut out for a second. You're back though.
Yeah, in order for us to be successful in the bull run, we need a little bit of everything for everybody. So it's essential that we have successful memes. It's essential that we have learned these lessons in order for us to progress forward as a community.
But do you think that people coming in, okay, and there's two different pieces to this. There's the people who are in the ecosystem that have been waiting, holding their core coins. All right, like we're going to do it. We're going to get the glory. It's going to be great. Got on board. It's been 2 years. I have nothing to do. My price keeps going down. I got to play some other game. there's like the people who've been here that have been that get into meme coins, and then there's the new people. Again, assuming we attract them for some reason here, whether it's through memes or through they like the tech, or they find Richard, or they find people they like to bring them in. And then you got those people who don't have any, no ties to Hex, no ties to, the ethos, kind of what you mentioned earlier too, who are just coming in fresh, that maybe they're learning the DeFi principles from kind of in the other direction, kind of like coming in from a centralized exchange. We hope to get people on centralized exchange. We hope to get on centralized exchange in order to attract people and show them real DeFi, so they start holding their keys and all that stuff. But you have like two groups of people there. And do you think the first group, the ones who have been here for a while, they've been holding, and they did the sacks for all the utility coins, and those prices have been down, all that stuff. Do you think that meme coins, it's almost like, if I can make it a case that it's easier for them to lose their money with meme coins or playing whatever games than it is the new people? Because the new people, maybe they're bringing in fresh capital. Maybe they're taking their losses from another chain or whatever. But the people have been here for a while and have started getting tempted to switch from the cores or switch from whatever their favorite utility coins are and stuff into meme coins. That's a cost. They're like trading like the used capital. They're taking liquidity from Hex. They're taking liquidity from other coins and putting it into somewhere else that could be gone, or could do really well too, but more often than not could be gone. So I don't know, how do you see those?
The people who've been here for a while, the people who sacrificed, shouldn't they have been better prepared for situations like this? Are you going to put the blame all on meme coins for wanting to gamble, wanting to play in the casino? I don't think that's right. I mean, the sacrificers knew that it wasn't going to be easy. The sacrificers knew that it was going to be a road less traveled. So here we are, trying to find where the value is. And I mean, a lot of the sacrificers, you guys listened to RH for years, and it's not easy, but I think it's important that we get on the same page, whether it's the new wave of degenerates and the old maxis. And I think we need to get on the same page in order for Pulsechain to succeed.
I mean, here, I think it's the argument of like, don't blame the casino for losing your money type of deal. I get it. And it's definitely, I mean, everyone's accountable for themselves. And a lot of people get impatient, have made, bad choices here and there, or TBD choices. But it seems like but nobody's told you to buy. Sorry. Well, I think the biggest negative on is this the biggest thing? Maybe one of the strongest points for the net negative capabilities coming from meme coins in the community would be turning people who were, promoting and creating content and streaming and whatever it is. They're like hardcore, hey, I'm going to promote the cores, but now they've got, skin in the game in these other projects. Maybe they created themselves, or maybe they just got into them, in whatever way. And now it's like, it's kind of like almost like a brain drain. It's kind of like you're taking people who could be working on, these other projects, and they're going over to work on memes and taking their brain to work on memes and creating groups around memes. So it's not even about like new people coming in or about memes in general. It's just that dopamine hit, or that temptation for I got to make money somehow type of deal. Richard's not going to come buy my bags type of thing. It's like part of it. Yeah. It's the type of person, because, obviously I don't have meme coin. My coin's hex.com, baby, all that stuff. But, a lot of people they've started creating their own stuff. And again, nothing against them doing it. I'm just, that doesn't, it's taking the brain drain away from the other projects too, which I think is it's not something you want if you're a team.
You mean brain drain? You mean it's taking away from the market share or mind share of the cores?
Well, yeah. So I would say taking away people creating content, like, again, kind of what I mentioned earlier, like it's real easy to stop talking about Hex once you start your own coin, like that type of thing. So there's that part. And then there's the liquidity portion. There's the, hey, I could stake Hex, but I'm going to go put my 10K into, this meme coin type of deal. So it almost feels like it matters more where you are in the ecosystem. That's why I was trying to make the dichotomy of like, if you've been in Pulsechain, Hex, all this stuff, and then Pulsechain launched, and then it's a different perspective, maybe different prioritization of like what you care about. versus if you came to Pulsechain onboarded by a meme, or if you just don't have any more holdings. It's almost like a skin in the game really, really matters here too.
Yeah, but meme coins also represent accountability. Nobody tells you to go buy and hit the buy button. Nobody tells you to go hit the sell button. I mean, meme coins definitely teach you responsibility and accountability in this game. So having skin in it is pretty important. And as we move forward, it's important for us to be aware of that. There's risks everywhere. But Ethereum didn't go to $4,000 by itself. You know, it was due to onboarding of big old memes like Shib and Pepe that allowed for its uprise. It's not a coincidence that BlackRock is rotating money into Ethereum now. So I think we need to be a little patient. I know a lot of people are disgruntled. I know a lot of people are confused and lost, but there is a bright side to all this. And as long as you turn your losses into lessons, then I think everybody's in good shape.
I think another point that people put against meme coins is, I get your point. If it's your money, nobody's forcing you to buy it or sell it, all this stuff. But they also, it's kind of like, and it's like, I think RH used to talk about this too. People get a following, they come in the community, they pretend to like these coins, and then they just funnel them into their next project, which could be meme coin, could be anything else. But just in general, like the lack of trust in people who make meme coins, because there are, so many scams, there are so many rug pulls, there are so many things. It's just the general angst for being like, oh God, now I got to go. I don't want to even get into it because I got to go vet this person. Or even if it's like scams that don't even know they're scams yet. It's like, it could just be a bad idea, or just like somebody who doesn't want to promote it for a long time. They could start the coin and then, they had good intentions from the start, but then eventually it's just too much or overwhelming, or they just don't want to do it anymore. They don't want to promote it. Now their brand's attached to it. And they have all these reasons to keep going, but they don't want to. And then it becomes this, all right, I'm getting out. I got to do what's best for me type of thing. It's just so hard to trust the founders because there's so many examples of it going wrong. How do you build trust in these things?
That's a good point. How do you build trust in the memes? Well, you got to do your due diligence, right? I mean, some people just need a little push. Maybe this is a message to other founders to keep going. Just don't quit, because there's people all around the world that rely on the founder to stay strong. And how do you build trust? Trust is a very fragile thing. So it's not easy. I mean, we've seen a lot of the shakeouts cause a lot of distrust, but I bet if there was more green candles, we'd probably be in better shape. And yeah, there's no way to there's no good way to put that.
A lot of red candle syndrome out there for sure. I agree with you on that.
A lot of PTSD.
Well, hopefully only 2 more weeks, man. Only 2 more weeks. What do you think about? I mean, aren't memes inherently, the way they're set up in it, and we can talk about the different, liquidity versus centralized supply, all this stuff, but aren't they generally set up in a way that is just super centralized? Insiders benefit, liquidity could be rugged at any time, which also doesn't build a lot of trust either. But aren't they set up in basically the opposite of DeFi? Like, there is some person controlling this stuff. You're at the whims of whatever, if they're having a bad day or not, type of deal.
Well, I mean, that's why a lot of these grassroots builders are building these different block explorers now, because now we can go and see if the liquidity is burnt. Now we can go and see how much the founder has. I mean, these are things that we need to be aware of that other chains don't necessarily have the ability to offer. And I mean, it's not easy, but Pulsechain wasn't meant to be easy. It was meant to be glorious. It was meant to birth a million millionaires, and that doesn't come easy. It's not supposed to come easy. It's not. Although there is a way of protecting and having good supply control with insiders and all that, you see it executed properly and improperly.
Well, I think part of what he said, I mean, when he said millionaires, which is a historic and amazing statement, I hope we're able to get that through, and we are minting millions and millions of millionaires through his ideals and products and all that stuff too. But that always meant to me too, or always kind of come back to the principles of RH and delayed gratification and all those pieces where I just don't think he was like, he wanted to mint a million millionaires. And he was like, you know what? I hope meme coins do real well on Pulsechain. I know, and I want to talk to you about pump.tires. I know that he promoted that a lot too, which my position is it's just a a killer app for Pulsechain to have. Other stuff has too, and we just want to get those people in. And he doesn't really care about, like, he hasn't changed his position on that, but he just he did it because it was important to do for onboarding and all that stuff too. But I think, again, delayed gratification part, memes are the opposite of that for all intents and purposes. Like, there is no, what other than the fraction of percent of memes that are still alive today, still have communities, the overwhelming majority are short-term games. Whether they don't have to be 5-minute rugs, they could be 5-month rugs, they could, or 1-year scams, or whatever it is. Eventually they lose steam and just go away. So how do we mint a million millionaires if most people playing these games are gonna lose their money?
Well, we don't quit. We don't give up. That's how we get to the finish line. I mean, a marathon isn't it ran in just one day. Although, I mean, I could eat that contrary subject, but yeah, I mean, I know we're still waiting on ETH to move, and yeah, I mean, it's not
ETH,
supposed
please
to be
go
easy,
up.
man.
ETH, if you're listening, please go up.
Memes are a way for us. Yeah, I mean, memes are a way for us to accumulate units, and memes are a way for us to gain and earn. So some people will hodl forever, and I think Hex is the opposite of that. But in a way, these memes allow us to have a little bit of fun on chain, whether it's speculating from afar or speculating by participating. I do think memes will forever exist. And there will always be a season for different memes. And I think we need to be more in tune with TA and trends and macro, just so that we can kind of be aware of our entry and our exit. It goes back to having a plan when you go in and out of a token. If you see the sentiment fade, maybe it's time to scrape a little bit of profit, or if you're up too high, scrape a little bit. I mean, it's just like any investment. You got to be responsible with your assessment there.
Do you think that, I mean, just because we mentioned PDI and stuff too, and I mean, I remember when the exploit and stuff happened, and it was like, people were like, oh, Pulsechain has an exploit. It's like, no, there's just this contract on Pulsechain, this coin that has a large community that has, this infinite mint bug or whatever it was. Like, things like that, even when memes get really big, like, they can also fall really hard too. Like, the reputational damage from having frog coins and dog coins and with butt coins and like all these things, all these different pieces, even though they are getting through
a lot of that damage comes from people buying the tops. Why would you buy the top of a chart? Because you think it's going to keep running. A lot of that damage comes from I would say greed is the root for a lot of the damage, and that you're not supposed to go in. Your plan is not supposed to involve greed. Your plan is supposed to be strategic, and just like
what is a good plan? What is a good plan? That's like a good one to dig into. What is a good plan for meme coins that aren't based on greed? Because it seems like they're naturally set up to be based on greed. Like, right?
Well, for instance, a lot of people have this high expectation of Pulsechain doing 1,000x,
10,000x,
whatever. 10,000x. Okay. Well, what if you taper your expectations by 50%? What if you taper your expectations by 75%? What if you taper your expectations by 90%? You still fall within a range of good gains. And I think people don't have that awareness when it comes to coming in and out of a token. Because if you take 90% from if you go from a 10,000x and you 90% down from that, you still end up with a couple hundred X's. You know what I mean? So it's just being aware of your entry and your exit. And that way you prevent yourself from losing more than winning. Or yeah, you prevent yourself from losing and have more wins that way.
But you think most people do that, or most people don't do that?
I don't think a lot of people are aware, and I think that's part of the problem. You know, going into these meme coins is always a risk, and it's nobody's going to come save you. Nobody's going to come hold your hand when you lose out. It's just that's part of crypto, and it's been that way in every cycle. You know, people come this way because they hear about all these multi-million making stories, and it's that some people got lucky, and but a lot of that's hard work, and now the trenches are getting harder and harder to maneuver. So you got to be more prepared. You can't just buy any random ticker that pops up the first 5 minutes and think it's going to go. I mean, at least be a little more aware of what Pulsechain has to offer in terms of background information, and nowadays we can check founder wallets. Nowadays we can check to see track history and stuff like that. So it's up to us to do our research when it comes to these things, and that way we prevent ourselves from losing and handing our money over to the malignant people on chain.
But if you're losing it, aren't you holding, again, there's, I know different ways you can set up meme coins, but aren't you handing your money over to the founders of the meme coins in a lot of ways? Like whoever's providing liquidity, whoever's, but they're actually timing, they're actually trading, they're actually, they're the insiders, whatever you want to call it. Like when you're losing, you're just giving your money to someone else, right? I know in all crypto you do that, but meme coins,
I think that's why
it's very centralized.
I think that's why Pump.Tires definitely changed the way we can move forward, because anything that bonds on Pump Tires is burnt. That main liquidity pair is burnt, and then everything on top of that is up to the founders, up to the team to provide liquidity. But there's a little more security in that way. It's a little safer when those coins graduate from Pump.Tires. And I know people don't like to hear it, but things are changing. Things are getting better, whether people realize it or not. There are leaders on the chain that are stepping up and doing these meme coins right. So yeah, it's not the easiest when entering a coin, if you're not prepared, if you're not doing your background chain analysis, but there is a way to mitigate that risk.
Well, let's say that I was going to launch a meme coin. I've got a brand. I've been around for a while. A lot of people like me. They follow me. I create a lot of content, all that stuff. And so I have influence. I have, all these things that come with that. What would be the right way to do it? You mentioned like the right way to do meme coins. Like how would you, if I was creating a meme coin, what would you advise? Like what's the right way for me to do that?
Well, there's certain blockchain ethics that are presented that we can use as examples to follow in terms of burning the initial liquidity, the founder not holding too much of the supply, or the founder or the team coming out and being transparent, and then it's up to the user whether they want to believe it or not. So if you were to make a meme coin, it's probably best not to hold too much of the supply. It's probably better to have a little bit of LP with all the cores, and to show that you're there for the chain and not there for the profits. There's a way to build a token from the bottom by being transparent, because Richard showed us freedom of speech, freedom of movement, and we can see these wallets, set liquidity on chain. We can see the burn address receiving the LPs, and there's a certain standard of ethics that people should be more aware of, because a lot of these tokens that don't have liquidity burns, at least with the main pulse pool. That's the big thing. If the main pulse pool isn't burned, then I don't know. Then that's probably a riskier play.
But it sounds like, the only reason I would create a meme coin would be to make money. Like for me to make money, like I would want to create it in a way that would guarantee. Like otherwise, why would I do it? Because I'm not creating a platform. I'm not trying to solve a problem. It's not a utility token. I'm not creating a blockchain. I'm not trying to onboard people to a new L1. Only reason I would create it is for me to, at some point, either short term or long term, to make money, and anyone I tell about it to make money. Right.
Well, how would you create that value? You wouldn't want to create that value based on greed and based on the pure intention of making money. You'd have to put in the work to create the community and build a team behind it. There's certain things that make a successful meme prosper, and it takes a lot of hard work.
Yeah, but I guess leading to what end though? Because if I create a meme and you said you got to work on a community and you got to do all that stuff, what does it get me other than me getting, like, how does it help Pulsechain? Because it seems like it just makes me money, and then I got to dump on everyone else, and they got to lose money eventually. What is the point of building the community other than for me to get a higher price of my token?
There's ways to profit without dumping on your friends.
Well, I know you can do liquidity and all that stuff too, silent sales. Like I know those aspects, but just I guess what I'm pointing to is, like, it seems like this game of, I'm going to make money, and whoever gets in early is going to make money. I know you can apply that to everything, crypto and life and all that stuff too. But in this particular instance, there's a lot of other things I could do to still make a token appreciate in value other than using my personal brand. I could do utility token of some sort and all that stuff. But when I'm doing a meme token, I'm using my influence. Now, I'm probably gonna again start talking less about Hex and stuff, and be like, oh, hex.com, and also buy Max token, blah, blah, blah. Where does the value for the chain come from? How do I even attract people with my brand from other chains to come here to do it? Does it only work for certain brands? Like, I don't know. I don't see how I onboard people, using this meme token.
I think it's important for us to educate people on liquidity provision, whether it be V2 or V3, because there's ways to add value collectively so that everybody eats, not just one person. You know what I mean? And if that was your sole intention, then that token is probably not going to do well. But together we can make a token have more value, and that's going to entail unity. It's going to entail educating the masses, whether you take your little tribe and you teach them how to provide liquidity properly and exit properly. I mean, that's why we have V3, so you can slide out the back door without hurting the main charts. There's ways for us to create value together, and that's what makes a blockchain whole. It's really about the teams and the community, and right now there's a lot of infighting and all that, and a lot of bickering across the cities across Pulsechain. But it's important for us because Richard wanted to create a nation state, and that's going to take all of us to work together to add value, not just one person extracting all they can. So when a meme is done properly, there's a big community behind it. There's a lot of people fighting for the same cause, not just one ego against many.
Well, what incentive do I have to not just extract value in this meme coin that we're talking about here? Like, why wouldn't I just slowly over time take the value, $100 per day, or like whatever it is? Like, what is the incentive to not do that? Especially if it's growing and stuff. Like, okay, well, at the end of in 1 year, I did the calculations, I'll have like, $4 million, whatever it is. Why not do that? And I'm not saying it's a bad thing that founders enrich themselves by making products. I'm just saying, like, it seems like that is the vertical of the game. The game is, we're not building a platform. We're not building a new blockchain. I don't know how we're onboarding unless it's a super funny meme that other people think is funny on other chains, and they're going to come over because they think it's funny. Like, it may be virality. I mean, everything could be, there's always a virality aspect that could, 1 in a million chance it actually happens. But it seems like the whole thing is set up to just make whoever creates it money, and everyone else, good luck.
Wouldn't it make sense that there is glory in the delayed gratification?
Which delayed gratification?
Because you're talking about profiting immediately or within a certain time frame, and that falls back on the founders. We can create something that's everlasting and on chain forever if done properly, and that way you don't slaughter the golden goose. When these founders drop coins, your coin is essentially a child. You don't want to just take your child for everything that it's worth. You want to groom it properly and grow something that actually adds value. So a lot of lessons have been learned along the way on how to create something that has eternal value, that lives on the chain forever, and that's how people can create real estate on chain.
Well, let's say too with this token that, all right, it does well. There is this extract value over time, or however it works, and then there is some onboarding from other chains because whatever I do, some viral video, people go nuts. They start coming from Solana over here to buy this token and join our community. to what don't I have to keep going? Don't I, like, what if I'm just like, all right, cool, I've got my delayed gratification for a year and a half, whatever it is, I got my money. If I stop streaming about it or I stop talking about it, do I have to have the community stuff, like community takeover for the meme, or does this price go down over that? Like, how does it not end in, well, that was a short-term game? Hope you got out before the founder stopped streaming. Which,
Yeah, I mean, you do present a good point, but that falls back on the team. A founder can't just do it by himself. That's why it takes a team. It takes a tribe to make these things work, time and time again. So, in order for us to preserve that value and actually be a store of value, it does take a lot of work. We can't necessarily just give up after a certain metrics met. I mean, there's a responsibility. Your reputation's on the line at that point. So if that's what founders want to do, then I guess that is the downside to
when all the people that I would have onboarded there too that came over for RHMAX token and then stopped talking about it. It's like, are they going to stay on Pulsechain? Or are they going to be like, oh, I came over here for this thing. I don't know. I don't care what Hex is. Like, I'm just here to make money. It's even like the people you onboard from the thing, if it isn't a long-term game, turns into it's almost like buyer's remorse. I don't know, I feel like there's some mental model around this. Like, they're just going to easily leave, right? Or join other groups and then try to roll their money and get more profits in other memes.
Well, if you have a plan going in and out of a token and you take your profits responsibly, at the finish line, there is no remorse. So that's part of it as well. I mean,
it's like the race to the exit deal, though, right?
Why does it have to be a race to the exit? Why can't it just be a way of passive income? Why can't it be a means of providing without taking from everybody, without dumping on your friends' heads? Well, I know it's PvP everywhere we go, but that's why Pulsechain is a little different. You're starting to see communities band together, and that's why charts hold up a little better when done right.
Well, think about if you're holding Max token and you see me, oh, cool, I'm gonna tune in for a live stream, and the live stream is the end ? And I'm like, hey, we had a good run, but I think this is the community's thing now. Is not the first thing you're going to do is, as fast as you can, go to Dex, not go to Dex, go to PulseX or go to Pidius or whatever, and be like, I'm going to sell about 80% of my bag right now. Why else would you hang on? Like, what can you prevent that? Like, what could I have done to prevent that? Even, like, I don't want to do this thing forever, right?
Well, where would that value go? Like, for instance, where would you direct these people to put their money in afterwards?
I guess that's one. It's like, okay, our partnership with another meme coin. I want my people to go over there because I want to go back to talking about Hex or something. Yeah, I guess maybe there's something there. You could divert the capital to another project. But as a holder, though, your first thought is like, I'm going to be looking, like, it's almost like you're trading, that you're like watching the influencer, you're watching the person, you're watching, hey, if they say something, I'm dependent on that person to say something or not say something. My bag's based on what I'm going to do.
Well, I think it's important for us to realize that if we do have this bull run, it's not going to last forever. So if you feel euphoric, hey, it's probably time to take a little bit of profit, and that way, at the end of the road, you can say, hey, I took care of that the right way. And whether you're the founder or the holder, at least there wasn't a disservice along the way. But I think that's why it's important for us to educate people along the way so that everybody can have a little piece of the pie and not just one person run off with the whole pie.
And it's definitely, I mean, the meme coins that are still around, I imagine they were able to be successful in a lot of different verticals and have a community that doesn't want to give up on them too, which is kind of similar to a lot of other projects with utility and all that stuff too. So I definitely think it can be done. I think the chances are lower than a lot of other stuff, but no, I mean, you could definitely put together a community that refuses to lose. Hex.com, baby. That's one community.
But then again, you're a lot of holders are reliant on the founder to have, a good reputation or good intent, good external funds. And that teaches us safer practice. You're not going to just buy a mystery meme coin just because it's going up. I mean, that's not right. And if you are, time your entry. There's a way to go about it to mitigate these risks. And although every play is risky, meme coins do present value and do teach us important lessons that help us succeed in future endeavors.
Do you feel like that if there were plenty of utility coins, let's say there's just as many utility coins, just as many people making platforms and websites and deploying contracts and cross bridge atomic swaps, like all the different like stuff that are really good for infrastructure side. Like, I guess, could you imagine there being like, the meme coins, do they exist out of, I mean, there's jokes and ideals and feel proliferate, but if you had many quality projects that people believed in and didn't just see go down and stuff like that, do you think meme coins would be as popular if we weren't in this red candle syndrome time? Or are they kind of like, are they almost propped up? They're almost like became popular because people are like, you know what? I don't care anymore. I don't want this. I just want this thing to go up. I don't care about anything else. And is that a good thing?
Well, I mean, I think it's important for us to assess the evolution of memes on how memes nowadays have hidden utilities behind it. I know a lot of people don't like tax tokens, but now there's a bunch of memes that offer more than just a JPEG, and it's not just depending on a chart. You can hold a coin and earn passive income on it, and that has changed the way meme coins move forward. It's not just it's really risky to just buy a JPEG coin off pump tires and everything, but there are other meme coins on chain. I mean, Pulsechain has a lot to offer. There's a lot of coins that you can buy and hold that start off as just a meme, but there is utility behind it, and people come for the meme, stay for the utility, and there's a lot of grassroots builders that are helping change the narrative, the landscape in which memes are executed and created.
Are there examples on Pulsechain that you can think of that where things went really well and then things that didn't go very well? Like, if there are like lessons we can learn from the memes that we've seen so far?
Very much so. The Grays, especially, they taught us the power of supply and demand, and that was the first major tax token on Pulsechain. And then you see a lot of people try to replicate that, but they taught us the important lesson of supply and demand, and that's something that carries over into that helps fortify our tools, our degen tools, our trading tools. We saw that SolidX, the Solid Index, they showed us the power of community with their own little way of liquidity webbing. Atropa showed us how to have fun with the curiosity of the chain through science and mysticism, whatever you want to call it. I mean, there's different ways. There's a lot of different lessons and a lot of different memes that showed us different things, and each in its own season for sure. But you can go off and say, like, some of the cores are turning into memes. Like, the incentive token was known as RH's Bitcoin. Like that's a meme in itself. There was an incentive to hold it, but there's not any tokenomics behind it. It was farmable at one point, but now we can see that, like, there are different farms opening up all the time, different protocols, different degen APR farms that they'll take the cores and then they'll include the top memes so that you can earn. There's different lessons along the way that Pulsechain has it all. Pulsechain has a little bit for everybody.
Isn't it? I mean, would you call it investing in memes? Or I feel like it's hard to make a case for investing. It's almost like I'm gambling on memes, and not to say it's a good or bad thing in general, but just if I'm sitting down.
Are you heavy on the term investing, or is it more speculating?
More of what? You said investing or what? Oh, speculating. Yeah, I mean, I think the scenario I'm trying to draw here is that if you're trying to sell somebody on a coin and you're like, okay, you should invest in this coin, they're gonna be like, all right, what does it do? Okay, well, it does, you can stake it, you can earn more of it, you can farm it, you can blah blah blah. You got to use it for the platform, whatever it is. Everything any utility coin could offer. But with memes, I don't even know how to say invest with it because.
Yeah, I'm very cautious on that word investing, because I can't give people financial advice. Neither neither should you. Investing, that's a professional term. You can't tell people, hey, go buy this, go buy that. You can say, hey, I'm buying this for this reason, and people can speculate on their own. And if they're curious, you can help them find an entry, find an exit, whatever. But it's the term investing. That's you can't use that word too loosely.
Well, say you're trying to, because you have a meme coin, right?
Sorry, you're breaking up.
Oh, sorry. I said you have a meme coin, right?
I have a couple coins, yes, sir.
Okay, so how do you, when you're talking to people about it, how do you explain? Like, do you say, hey, I'm speculating on this one? Like, how do you sell them this versus Bitcoin, Ethereum, like anything else that has the utility type of deal?
I say, hey, this coin offers you some reflections, and whether people buy or participate, it's not up to me to get people to buy it or not. I give them the details, and it's up to the investor if they want to participate or not. I mean, as a founder, you need to be responsible in the way that it's presented as well. You can't just willy-nilly say, hey, go buy my token. I mean, that's not proper practice.
Yeah, but if you, I'm just thinking of most people who, to make money, again, you don't have to talk about investing with them, but the idea behind it is I'm going to put money in to make more of it, and that's called a good investment. So like when you're trying to sell them any meme coin, I mean, your coin or any meme coin, I imagine that maybe it has reflection, it has different things with it. How is it that you convince them that this is the thing? Like this is, you're buying it, other people are buying it. This is better to buy versus any coin that you can explain has a platform or has a gas token or has store value or something else. Like how is it? How do you get them on board with it?
Well, I guess that's part of the risks of being a founder. You're not trying to oversell your product, or you're not trying to convince people to buy your product. You just got to put in the work and let it live on chain. Some of these things aren't up to us. We can't tell people to buy we can't tell people to hit the buy and sell button. That's not our job. All we can do is put something on chain and hope that it prospers. And if you tender it well, if you tend to it well, it should do all right. But that requires all the groundwork in terms of community building and marketing and all that such. So when you market something, it's different than telling somebody to invest or buy in it. You're just creating content and trying to create some excitement. You're trying to create some sentiment. You're trying to create some bullish vibes. And I think that's what makes us a little different on Pulsechain. It's whether people participate or not, we can create something that doesn't go away because it's on chain.
Well, yeah. I mean, technicality there though, it doesn't ever go away, but it can die though, right? It can, if there's no more volume, then the coin's dead, right? So it's not like, it's unstoppable code, but no one's interacting with it. It might as well not exist.
Well, then that's up to the community. That's up to the community to decide if they're going to invest in a dead token or not. I mean, we've seen a lot of tokens rise from the ashes.
So most meme coins, though. I mean, I'm just thinking if you try to onboard people for for any meme coin, I imagine they're probably going to be, if they don't ask you directly, they're going to be thinking, okay, I think I'm investing in this guy or this community or this ideal. I'm not really investing in. This token doesn't do anything, right? And I'm not saying it's a good or bad thing. I'm just saying, as a person rationalizing it, this token doesn't do anything. I'm not expecting anything from it. It just exists. I want the price to go up. And that is completely dependent if the community grows, if the person does things, it's like shifting the dependency from the whole world, like for example, Ethereum, the whole world can participate and build this blockchain and build these products, and they're incentivized to do so because they're within these bounds and rules, and they have framing, and there's all these ideas that can come from it. With a meme, it's kind of almost, it's like, there may be some utility later, it may not be. It is completely community driven, for better or for worse. So you're kind of just betting on the community itself. You're not betting that it achieves anything other than virality.
Well, that's why the meme coin is the onboarding tool. The meme is the onboard. You're onboarding. You're investing in the people. You're investing in the founder. You're investing in the community. You're investing in the chain itself. It's not just the one coin. I know you're trying to scapegoat the meme itself. But on Pulsechain, it's a little different because here we invest in the people, we invest in the founders, just like when people buy the course, the maxis, they invest in Richard Hart. It's the same correlation there that allows us to dictate where our value goes, and that's where the store value comes from, and that's where the stronger the community, the more likely that token is going to do well because there's more value behind it. That's where the values come from.
You should create a coin called Now Buy Hex. So when you buy it, you know what to do next. Now buy Hex.
Well, that's what we have Hex for.
Buy now Hex. Yeah, buy with Hex. Yeah.
We have
yeah. Go ahead.
We have Hex on Pulsechain and Hex on Ethereum. You want another token that has the Hex in the sticker?
Yeah. Well, you never know. Hex Ethereum Fair, Hex Ethereum Proof of Works. I don't know if you were there for that stuff, but yeah, that's fine. Hex with yeah. All right. Went through quite a few. Is there like what haven't we talked about yet? What else is like controversial about meme coins that you think is interesting to dig into before we wrap up?
Well, I don't think Pulsechain is ran yet, and that's pretty evident. And I think this is a good talk, and I think it's a good time for it. And when Ethereum starts running, we should definitely see a little bit of excitement, whether it takes us into the Q4 of this year or 2026. I think we are prepared now more than ever to succeed, and it's important for us to take that logic of a million millionaires and translate that to a million leaders. That we have to have a million leaders out here leading the way properly, so that we don't lead the sheep into the slaughter. You know what I mean? So that we're not robbing Peter to pay Paul. These memes can be done and be executed properly so that we can bring glory to the chain. I mean, that's why we're here, right? We're here for Pulsechain. We're here to have fun. We're here to have a good time, make some money while doing it. Yeah, I mean, this has been a good talk, and I think it's time for it.
Do you think more people will make money on meme coins on Pulsechain? Let's say we do glory run next 6 months. Pulsechain 10x's. We start seeing some crazy candles. Godwell comes back, boom, hits us with another one. All that fun stuff. Do you think people will come into Pulsechain, whether it's for memes or for anything else? Do you think they'll be making more people will be making money on meme coins versus buying the cores, or the cores are going to run? Maybe they won't run as hard as some of the meme coins, or maybe they will. Maybe we'll get to downs next, but a lot more people will win.
Well, I think a lot of meme coins are leverage on the course. So I think a lot of people will make money on memes, and a lot of people will make money just holding the course. But we need to have a plan coming in and out of these things. Whenever that God candle comes, you got to have a plan for it. I mean, don't get stuck holding the bag. There's going to be a lot of people that do, and not everybody's going to make it, and that's just the reality of it. But if we are better prepared, then we can have a little more success out of it.
I still like, there's something about, Hex and any utility coin, but my favorite's Hex, where I'm not reliant. And again, this is like kind of, people could say, oh, Richard needs to stream to do all these things, or Richard needs to promote, and Richard needs to buy whatever. I don't feel like I'm reliant on a community that could be ephemeral, that could come and go in order for it to go up. I feel like it's already got that established. Regardless of who's buying it, what whales, what all this stuff, the community intact. I have faith, and I believe the community intact will be here for the long run. It's got super stickiness, 15-year lockups, all that stuff too. I just don't see that with most 99.99% of meme coins. Is there a way for meme coins to have that, or is that always just going to be, hey, they're higher risks, they may run harder than cores, that's just an accepted thing?
You're trying to say that Hex is always going to stand and have its value, but why does the Hex chart look the way it does? You are dependent on the community to have some kind of shared interest or some kind of shared effort to make that product successful. Because if you're pulling out these stakes down the road and the chart's down 99%, are you going to be happy with that? We have to be open to having everything on chain work together, whether it be Hex, whether it be the memes. there's a lot of people that aren't staked 555, you know, and I mean, I'm not disrespecting Hex at all. You guys do deserve a lot of respect for paving the way, but yeah, I mean, Hex is down this much right now. Are people really happy about it? I mean, there's a lot of people who bought the top, and if they would have been,
I was going to say, I think the point was more of, I mean, not that Hex chart, of course, Hex is down a lot. It's been down for a while too, but I know with Hex the liquidity, it's went up and down, but boy, we still got lots of liquidity there. And the volume, the community on X, I always have this feeling that never going to go away type of deal. I can't put that on any meme coin though. And maybe it's because it's been around 5 years, maybe because it's got this cult-like following, whatever it is, no matter what the chart looks like, I know it's not going to zero type of deal.
I think you'd be surprised. There's a lot of memes currently that haven't gone to zero, and there will be a lot of other memes that won't go to zero. It's going to take a lot of responsibility, but I think you'd be surprised on how that plays out.
I hope so. I mean, I hope on Pulsechain we all get the maddest of gains no matter what coins we buy. But I've definitely meme coins I feel like are on the riskier side of the curve. Yeah, it's our core coins have been beat down a lot though too. Oh, any final piece? Yeah, great conversation, man. I feel like we covered a lot of good stuff and a lot of things that people are probably curious about and haven't heard conversation about too. What do you want to take us out on? What's anything? I asked Jim to say something positive. He didn't say anything much positive at the end of it, but that was kind of the colorful of the show, anyways. Man. But what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Pulsechain's dead. There's a lot of us here, and yeah, I think good times are ahead. Whether it's later on this year or next year, I think it's important for us to stay put and just be a little patient.
All right.
There's been a lot of negative talk on Pulsechain recently, and quite frankly, I don't like it.
Has there been negative talk? I haven't heard that much of it. I've only saw it all the time.
I try to block it out.
Block it out. Is that pun intended? Block it out. Yeah.
I try to block it out, but there's some noise still trickles through.
Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate the conversation, Blockhead, and of course, best of luck and all that stuff too. Wrapping it up. All I got to say right now is Sci Vibe and 5555. We are out.